Hello, hello. Welcome to episode 9 of Digital ILIAD, making an FTL-like in Godot. We're closing out our second week here. We've had some good times and some bad times. Yesterday's stream was especially frustrating to me, trying to implement this kind of cursor-based transparency that I think we've ultimately decided is not the right approach. So I think today we're going to be implementing more of a room-based transparency issue or a transparency pattern. We're probably going to end up doing like a flood fill to identify rooms separated by doors. And then we'll need to do some kind of system to associate walls with the rooms that they obstruct. I think that's kind of how we're going to approach this. So it'll be interesting. Yeah, we might as well get started. So this is kind of our little test area, which is pretty dumb, but it does present us with interesting, problems as far as walls overlapping in ways that really obscures what you're trying to see. What we did yesterday was like a really poorly made cursor-based transparency, which, for a different game, maybe is the right way to go. But for us, I think we want to work. I don't think we want a solution that's more like working with like whole cloth. You know what I mean? Like, I think if my cursor is in this room, we want at least all of these walls to become transparent. At least all of them that overlap with this room. An open question of whether we want all of the walls in the adjacent room to go transparent. In which case, walls are probably going to be owned by the room in front of them because we don't render foreground walls at the moment. We don't really have a way to render foreground walls at the moment. We could do it. I don't know why we would want to. Honestly, this whole approach might be misguided as far as the constraints of having rooms placed so close together. We could easily envision a world where we are forcing full rooms to be 3 tiles away from each other. But I don't know. To me, placing a constraint on our level design is like the last thing I want to do. Because that just is something that you have to that is something that's not really codified. It's something that you have to like keep in mind as you're working on stuff. It's not really something that just kind of, it's not as structural as I would like as far as solutions go. I think transparency will be a good starting point. Okay. Let's get to it, I guess. I did a little bit of research before the stream as far as how I think we might do this. I pulled up a tutorial from GDQuest. GDQuest is pretty great. They've got lots of tutorials. They have a whole new set of tutorials for Godot 4 that have just come out in early access. I bought them. I haven't done them yet, so, But I definitely bought them. I would like to start going through them, I guess, on the weekends. Anyway, they have an old flood fill algorithm tutorial that we're going to look at, and we're going to kind of pull to an extent. The problem that they're trying to address with this is unit movement, like rendering where a unit can move on a board based on its number of movement points. Not really what we're doing. So we don't really care about things like obstacles. So they're recording obstacles there. We're more interested in this flood fill algorithm. Yeah, so I think this is a good start. So we're doing a grid flood fill. We're not really concerned with condition 3. Our additional condition, actually, I guess, you know, we're going to be doing this, and we're going to be doing it based on the floor tiles. So we are going to flood fill the floor tiles, and we are going to stop the flood fill at the location of each door. So as they said here, you can implement flood fills recursively. The writer of the tutorial said they had some issues just using recursivity without like the aid of, you know, data structures. So we're going to use a stack to try to avoid some similar issues, just like they did. So this is their code for the flood fill. This is pretty much what we want here, with some variations. Like we don't really care about distance checking, I think. Because the whole point of the flood fill is we're just expanding across. We're going to use a 4-way flood fill where we are just expanding across the cardinal directions. The 4 cardinal directions. We're not going to do diagonal flood filling, which in our case shouldn't be a problem. Like we theoretically should be able to do diagonal flood fills, but we're just not going to because it's easier. So the basic way this works is, you know, we've got our output array, which I think we're going to end up filling these arrays into dictionaries. Like we'll define a room, and then the array will go into that room. It could also just be like a multi-dimensional array. Doesn't really need to be a dictionary, since I think we're just going to have room indexes, unless we start like analyzing this later and like identifying room types, which we might do. So we're going to feed in an array that is maybe the get used cells. We'll probably need to do this in stages. We'll probably need to do the floor stage first, and then do a stage where we look at our walls. Not totally sure how we want to do that. Now we also want kind of a way to debug this. We want like a debug mode. What should we do for that? Probably do variations on the alternative tiles. We could just change our 3 alternative tiles that we currently have from being various levels of transparency, and we could change them to be colored. Oh wait, we need floor tiles, so we could just make 3 alternative floor tiles that are colored. Let's do that. That way we can at least see what we're doing here. Oh, that's rough. I forgot that this is how it's gonna be. Probably should just repaint the floor tiles with the base tile right now, with just the 4-directional, just the full grid base tile. Just for visual. Just to simplify our problem here. I can use the rectangle tool, right? That's nice. This will make it easier. It looks horrible, but this will make it easier to identify what we're doing. I mean, maybe that's better. It honestly makes the grid more visible. The outlines are just really thick though. But maybe having the floor outlines is the best. I mean, we could definitely soften them. Like, they don't have to be like full opacity, like black. Once we start texturing the floor panels, we could soften up the divisions between them to an extent, as long as it looks cohesive. I don't know. We'll have to think about that. I think it's reasonable, though. Oh, well, it definitely makes the thing we're trying to do here easier. Insofar as now we can just make a bunch of alternative tiles. Make this one like maybe red. It's the opposite way of making red. Make this one red. This one green. Oh, oops. Make this one blue. That should help us at least visually identify where the floors belong. You know, we're going to do this at runtime right now, but maybe what we're going to eventually want to do is run this as a tool script, like run this as a separate tool script. So that we can like, because this information isn't going to change. This is like a compile time check. Like once we've done, I mean, yeah, this is room data should not change when the game is live. But we're just going to do it at start for now. Okay, so let's look. So we've got to decide where we want to do this. like maybe like delineate rooms. Yeah, we should call it what it is. Flood, fill, floors. Get that alliteration going. My nose itches. So we're going to eventually want, like all these compartments. See how we want to account for the airlocks in this. All right. Let's look at our flood fill algorithm here. Yeah, we will want to return an array. We maybe need to feed in a start position. Maybe. Depending on how we do this. Because we're not flood filling one contiguous space. Yeah, this definitely is going to be a tool script. At some point. I'll have to see how that interacts with the tile map. But it should be fine. Okay, yeah, we do need a stack. All this initial tile. You want a stack. It starts with our initial tile. So while the stack isn't empty, we'll just pop one off the back there. Where do we add to the stack? Stack.append. Oh, we've got stuff in the stack. Current equals stack dot pop back. We don't need to worry about a bounds check because the only tiles that we're going to get back are going to be valid. We just need to worry about whether or not this tile is already in the array. We in a loop? Oh, oops. Hey Vibes, what's up? Happy Friday. How's it going? How's the game dev life? I am good, thanks. We tried to do a little bit more preparation today, and by a little bit, I mean we looked up a tutorial. So I'm hoping that today will be a little less brute force than yesterday. We don't care about any of this. Otherwise, we're going to append. So the only check we're going to do is if current is in airlocks. In which case, we are also going to continue. I guess we could do an OR. How's game dev life though, Vibes? How's Game Maker treating you? Awesome, you made some progress in movement. I love to see it. I think physics movement is really challenging. That's why, again, I'm not using like direct control stuff in this game. Alright, so then we'll need to append and we'll need to pick. Oh. Yeah, we're kind of going to be checking this twice, but I do think that's okay. So we need our adjacent tiles. Am I doing it that way? 2i. One, 0. 0, 1. Again, the only people that I hear talk about Game Maker are the Butterscotch shenanigans game devs, but their podcast, Coffee with Butterscotch, pretty good stuff. I would definitely check it out. They're kind of off the deep end as far as Game Maker development goes, because they've been doing it for a long time and they've developed all these crazy tools. And they're making a fairly large game. But I've been following their game development of Crashlands 2, and it's like really interesting. So I would definitely check them out. Their podcast's Coffee with Butterscotch. The stuff they're doing is really good. For tile in adjacent tiles, current tile. I just like more verbose and anyway, we're just doing a simple flood fill. We're trying to identify the different contiguous rooms on our little test area. This thing. So we're just going to try to identify all the tiles in each room and change their color. And I feel like that will get us along the way of being able to do some wall hiding stuff based on what room the player seems to be interested in. So that's kind of what we're doing today. The adjacent tile, and so if adjacent tile in array or adjacent tile in airlocks. Weird how we're checking this twice, but I kind of get it. All it really saves us is an append and a pop, but I don't care. That seems fine. Adjacent tiles is a constant. Help if I could spell adjacent. Really help if I could spell adjacent. That's really all we're checking, huh? Stack dot append. Yeah, stack dot append adjacent tile. That should be it. I don't know if people are like super bothered by all of this negative line space. I kind of like it, but I admit that it's like excessive. If this was important to me, I think I could like increase the line space in the editor, just to give myself more line space. All right. Yep, this is all fine. Well, I think this should give us back. This should give us back all of the tiles that are adjacent. If adjacent. So the thing is, we need to pick our initial tiles, because this isn't written to be able to jump around. So we just need to add that step here. I'm going to rename some variables. We're going to say floor tiles. I'm going to call this the boundary. Boundaries. Really refer to these as cells. I refer to them as tiles. I get that they're cells, but I don't do that. I want a consistent naming thing, so this is all fine. So we're gonna flood fill. That's a separate thing. So what we need to do here is we basically need to pick initial tiles and iterate. This is the part that's kind of lame, and I'm probably gonna kind of fudge up. Oh, hey, Giri. Yeah, we're still at it. We haven't done much. We're working on addressing our obfuscation issues, like the fact that we can't see into these rooms. Yesterday we did this really dumb mouse cursor based transparency just to kind of to explore that possibility, but we're going to do something else. We're going to do something more room based, but we've done a little bit. We got airlocks going, sort of. They don't do what airlocks should do, but we're working on. I do have a Discord. I haven't really set it up yet, but let me look at doing that over the weekend, and then maybe I'll link it. Maybe I'll link it next week, and we can start getting the regulars into a Discord, because I would love to see all the stuff y'all are working on. That would be really cool. I would enjoy that. So yeah, we're just working on flood filling rooms. So we need to have we need a tile picker now. Oh yeah, we've got the highlights going. We've got highlights going. We've got basic movement. We've even got co-occupancy dealt with, like the possibility that they are that they'll co-occupy the same space, so they'll actually just switch places if that sort of thing ever happens, so that we never have more than one character on a single tile. I really want to animate like a high five as they're going by, but that'll be maybe a fun thing to do. But I feel like we urgently need to work on this transparency issue. Thank you. Yeah, I think that would be fun. This game isn't supposed to be that serious, or maybe it is that serious, but like moments of levity like that are like super important, I feel. So, okay, so we have our simple flood fill algorithm. largely provided to us courtesy of GD Quest. They have this old flood fill algorithm from 2021. Really cool. Obviously, they're not a sponsor. This is not sponsored, but check out their courses. Their new GD4 Godot 4 courses look cool. I bought them. Haven't tried them yet, but Teamwork Ultramax in the face of adversity. Yeah. So we've got that. We've got our flood fill algorithm. Pretty happy with that. Now we just need a tile picker, and this is the part that I'm gonna kind of just brute force through. Probably. We're having this run on startup every time, but I do think I want this to move this over to a tool script, but I haven't really done tool scripts yet, so let's write it first here and then look at what it would take to do that. But yeah, we're still at it. We're at episode 9. Next week we'll surpass Star Wars in terms of numbers of episodes. I guess actually in a sense we already have, because I did start with episode 0. But yeah, we're just cooking. I've really enjoyed this week and last week. Last week I was very nervous, I think, and I'm still nervous, but I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this a lot more than I thought I would. So thank you all for making streaming this pleasant. It's a really nice way to start my day. Alright, so we're basically just going to be taking random numbers. So we could just be plucking... So, yep, good vibes. We got Vibes Make Games here. Helping bring the good vibes too. We got... But yeah, I honestly didn't expect to start building a small little community here so quickly. I honestly was expecting to be streaming to nobody for like the first like months, the first like 100 episodes or something. I thought no one would come by until the game was starting to look like really good. Yeah, we literally do, you know? How's it going? But yeah, this is wild. I was watching Pirate Software this morning, and they said something like, if you have like 3 average viewers, you are like in the top, like, I don't know, 5%, 10% of Twitch streamers or something like that. We have 4 viewers right now. Oh, you saw that, Giri? I saw Pirate call out Robotech, who was here in the chat yesterday. That tickled me. 3 is 4. So I'm not at, 3 average streamers or at 3 average viewers, but like I feel like if we keep this up, we'll be there soon, and that blows my mind. Maybe it's because I watch mostly game dev streams. Yeah, that was wild. Yeah, seeing that person who had like 9 average viewers was in like the top, yeah, like 2 or 3%. That's like crazy. But I don't appreciate that because I mainly watch game dev, and the game dev category is like the software and game dev category is like really tight and like is a pretty small group. And I think it's not like a lot of the game streams where you really will have people who don't stream very often and they stream to like no viewers or 1 viewer or something like that. So yeah, that's wild to me. To me, it's worth it if just 1 other person is hanging out here with me. So this is really awesome. Anyway, I'm letting myself get distracted because I don't want to do this next part of the code, because I didn't think this far ahead. So let's just we just need to get a random tile out of floor tiles. The problem is we need to make sure that they haven't already been done. So we're going to need to, every time we pull a random tile, we're going to need to go through the compartments and then go through each compartment's array. That's going to kind of suck. That's going to be kind of slow, which is really why this should be like a tool script. so that if it's slow, we like don't care. But, oh well, it should still be trivially. It should still probably take a trivial amount of time. So we're gonna actually do this backwards, I think. So we'll end up saying, you know, compartments. Oh, we're gonna need to come up with numbers, huh? So we'll need to say, so we're gonna need to iterate through. Oh, let's do this. Let's say variable unfilled tiles is a copy of floor tiles. Let's make a copy. How do I make a copy? Array. Let's look at array. Array from array. Can I just do that? That's not a that's not getting passed by a reference. Duplicate. Yeah, that's maybe what we want. So we want it to be separate. Tiles. Duplicate. So we'll say something like while unfilled tiles we need to think about how we're going to deal with airlocks. I guess we just will remove it when we run into an airlock. While not unfilled tiles that is empty. So while we have unfilled tiles, we're going to loop through here. Initial tile will be unfilled tiles dot pop. Was there a pick random? Oh, pick random, sick. If initial tile in airlocks. Where are we filling airlocks? Oh, we're doing that during enter tree, so that should be fine. Yeah, this is not terrible. So we're just going to go through while we have unfilled tiles. We'll pick a tile. Call it seed tile, maybe. I don't know. Whatever. Initial tile is fine. Initial just feels weird to me while we're looping infinitely here. Not infinitely, but you know what I mean. But whatever. I need to be more comfortable with like awkward verbiage. I feel like I spend, like all good programmers, I spend too much time worrying about like what stuff should be named. So if the initial tiles in the airlocks would continue, otherwise we're going to, if the initial tile is in the airlocks, we want to unfilled tiles dot erase. We don't want to pop. We could, instead of pick random, we could pop, but we actually want to clean up the unfilled tiles every time. Initial tile. So we want to get rid of the airlock tiles, because otherwise we don't have a process for handling those. Otherwise, we are just going to call flood fill floors using the initial tile. Oh, we're gonna say compartments. Oh, we're gonna need variable compartment count equals 0. This way we have an indexed compartments, compartment count equals we're going to say for tile in compartments compartment count say unfilled tiles dot erase this tile, call it a filled tile. I think that might be it for the flood fill. We do need to color the tiles. So let's look at the tile map. See if we can do this as a batch, because this is a contiguous space. Set cells. Can I set more than one cell? It says set cells terrain connect, set cells terrain path. I can't just set cells. It's like we're going to have to iterate through them, which is fine. We're already iterating through them to erase them, so we can just color them at the same time. Let's say set cell 0. We can hard code this. 2i. Is there a dot 0? Yeah, there is. Okay. Source ID 0. Oh, oops. No, not here. Wrong place. We need the filled tile. Then we need the 0. Then we need that other vector 2, 0, because this is our atlas coords. And then we need alternative tile, and that's going to be compartment count plus 1. So in theory, this will flood fill each compartment, and then we will change the color of their tile to match. I think I already colored the tiles. Yeah, so we have just RGB. All right. I gleefully await all of the errors. All of the runtime errors we're about to run into. Okay, so working, sort of, but everything is just being included in the third or the first compartment. Oh, we're not iterating compartments, the compartment index. Easy. Compartment count. Meant that. Oh, we can't plus equal 1. Didn't really do it. In fact, we kind of messed some stuff up. Not sure how. Not sure why this is bleeding through all of a sudden. Oh, why is it in the airlock? Maybe there's an issue where we aren't filling the airlocks. I thought we were doing it during enter tree. Double check. Let's double check. Yeah, I thought we were doing it during enter tree. Well, that's when we're connecting the signal. Well, then the signal should fire. We should connect the signal fires. That's easy. This should be easy to check for. So like, as soon as we get here, let's just see what the state is. All right, so airlocks at this moment is dictionary site 0. Okay, that's fine. So we need to wait. It doesn't explain why our flood fill isn't working. So if current tile is in the array, or the current tile is in airlocks, that should never fire. Oh, we need to check to make sure that I'm a fool. I'm a fool. For one thing, I'm not applying this as an add. It's just checking the adjacent tiles. I'm not adding them. So that's one problem. Second, I'm not actually making sure that anything belongs to floor tiles at any point. So pass in floor tiles. We could just make it a... I mean, we could just make it a something we have. That's probably fine. Something we just have on hand. Make it a property. Raise up here. So we need to check. We need to make sure for adjacent tile and adjacent tiles. We'll say neighbor tile. Neighbor tile is adjacent tile. It's going to be current tile plus adjacent tile. And if neighbor tile is in array, I was like following along with that tutorial and I still managed to mess it up. We're going to use their naming convention, which I like better. That lets me just say adjacent tile. Direction. Directions. For direction and directions, the adjacent tile is the current tile plus the direction tile. So if either of these are true, we just continue. We also want to make sure that the adjacent tile is in adjacent tile is, if not adjacent tile is in, if not adjacent tile in floor tiles. This is maybe too many evaluations to have on one line, but it kind of fits. So now we're checking to make sure that it's floor tile before we add it. We maybe don't need this check. Or we move some of the neighbor checks down. Because what am I sending as I'm checking. So if it's in And then if initial tile not initial tile in unfilled tiles. Oh no, we're picking. We never need to check that. We're picking from the unfilled tiles. So we know that this never needs to be checked for the initial tile if we're checking it for the neighbors. And we also don't need to check for airlocks because we're also checking that when we pick our initial tiles. Okay, so we can get rid of this. Is there an if any? Is there an any? Is any a word? Is any a thing? No. Simpler like bool thing. So I can like, yeah, that's fine. I don't know why I like vectorized bools, but I do. So this should work now, hopefully. Oh, we still have an issue of the airlocks are not, the airlock array is not filled at this point for some reason, which is a little rough. It's a little weird because I feel like this on airlock tree entered signal goes off during enter tree. What are some game mechanics I would like in the game? I haven't thought about that yet. No, I'm kidding. You know, I mean, I really front load the whole, like, this is like, you know, a love letter to FTL. So it really is that. But more generally, it is also motivated from the same starting point that FTL was, which is what I want you to feel like the captain of a spaceship. Like, I want you to be, you know, ordering people around. Like, you are like, oh, we need someone to, you know, get down to engineering to fix this thing, or we need someone to crawl in Jeffrey's tube to, like, you know, deal with like a power conduit and like reroute power or something like that. So mechanically, I don't think you're going to be doing that much that's different than, you know, you see in FTL, like moving characters around, fighting, you know, shipboard battles, you know, dealing with boarding actions. Externally, so the stuff happening on the ship doesn't feel like it's going to be that different to me. I do want to have different positionality than FTL does, because FTL is very much like position agnostic. Like, it doesn't matter what position your ship is relative to your enemy ship. I want to add some of that stuff back. So I'm going to try to fit, we'll see how we can do this, but I want to try to fit enough space for there to be a ship either in front of you or behind you or on your left or on your right. So I want turning direction to be a lot more of a factor. Like, you're still not flying your ship around, but you do need to decide whether, you know, are we turning into the enemy ship? Are we turning away from the enemy ship? Because, like, maybe maybe that side of our ship is, like, damaged, or our shields are down on that side or something like that, or our weapons only face one direction. Like, do I bring my ship about to face my enemy so that I can, like, I don't know, fire a torpedo or something like that? Like, so I want to add some more positionality to this game than FTL had. That's probably one of the bigger mechanical differentiators. I am still thinking about a lot about how we're going to give identity to the characters, because as far as I've thought about it, I'm not going to do the same thing that FTL does, where, like, there are many species, like different species with different characteristics. So you won't have that where you're like, oh, my Zoltan character, like, powers the station that they're occupying, or my Mantis character, like, shreds people, so they're my security person. Like, we'll need to come up with some other ways of distinguishing our characters. I want to do more of a personality-based thing, where, like, more of what you'd expect from, like, I don't know, another game where the characters are small, but they need to have some kind of personality, like at least like the personality aspects of like a Rim World, where like maybe they have tendencies, maybe your characters have tendencies to do things, maybe we just use a Star Trek like shirt system. Something you've yet to see in a game like this? I would love to hear it. I would love to put something in here that no one has done yet. You're the commander of a crew, but only in the crisis? That could be interesting. So, like, when you're not in a crisis, what you imagine, like, everyone's, like, much more autonomous. Like, you can't directly order people around. Yeah, tell me what happens to the crew when they're not in a crisis. I don't want to put this in process. Oh, exactly what happens to them when not in combat. Yeah, I think that's an interesting question. I want to have things like, you know, bedrooms, like a lounge, like stuff on the ship. I want to have stuff, like I want them to have an existence outside of like the crisis. I don't know what that's going to look like. I mean, that's like the whole joke about like Star Trek. You never see anybody's toilet in Star Trek. Like they kind of hide some of that stuff, even though it is still really about like what those people are doing. There's still a lot of that stuff hidden. So I think that would be funny to add. The way I was going to approach that maybe is that like, so like games like FTL are jump based. So you jump into a situation or a scenario and you have to decide what to do with it. I kind of wanted to randomize everyone's position when you jumped in. Like, so if you jump into a fight, maybe you weren't expecting it. So like half of the crew is asleep and the other half is like in the cafeteria or something like that. And so you have to redeploy your people to deal with each situation. And that's where you have to make the hard choices about like, oh, this person isn't that good at this, but they are the only person that's close by. So I wanted to at least add that element where you have to deal with the fact that these aren't just people who are standing. Like in FTL, the characters never move from their station unless you tell them to. So I was thinking about that. I was also thinking about an alert system, kind of like in the Star Trek, like famous like red alert system, where like maybe and this is kind of maybe what you're talking about, where maybe the higher the alert is, the less autonomy the characters have. So like if you're in red alert, maybe the character AIs don't run off to go get a sandwich, obviously, because they're in like red alert, but maybe they also make worse decisions. I was thinking, because I was looking at A-Star Grid 2D, and A-Star Grid 2D has jumping. It has a jump mode, which is basically a mode for the pathfinding that ignores point weights. So I thought that would be really funny where like if you're in red alert mode, maybe we turn jumping enabled, which means that like everyone's pathfinding gets worse. So like you have direct control over your characters, but like they can't pathfind themselves very well now because they're like just the adrenaline's kicked in and they're like just running around, and like so they might wade through like a hallway that's like covered in like wreckage, or that's like, I don't know, whatever would make a hallway, like how about whatever would make a hallway have like a high weight scale in pathfinding, like either damage or whatever, flooding. That doesn't make a ton of sense on a spaceship. Yeah, so yeah, I think it would be awesome. Yeah, that half a second before the combat begin when you see the crew in the cafeteria before the alarm. Yeah, I think that's an awesome moment where you jump in and like you were not expecting a fight. And I think that's acceptable randomness because that's like input randomness or whatever, right? Like that's not mean. That's just like these are people and they have, you know, they're not just going to be sitting at the weapon station 24 hours a day. I think that would help solve for the fact that I'm not totally sure how to differentiate my characters a ton, because then their differentiation could just be skill based, and so their positionality when you start deployment like matters a lot. This sucks, so I'm just gonna basically say if not, flood filled. Is that what I called this? Flood filled. If not, flood filled. This is really stupid. We're not gonna do this for very long, but I don't know how to delay this until after the airlock. But we're gonna add a breakpoint to see if the airlock is there, because it should be, because the airlock tree entered should fire during the enter tree step. But I admitted I don't totally understand how enter tree and on ready like work. So like the fact that, you know, the airlocks might have had their enter tree function run, but their parent has already had their ready function or something. That seems to be what's happening here, which is weird, but we can look into that more. But we're just going to solve it right now by trying to put it in process and check that if we haven't flood filled. And once we're done with this, we will then say flood filled is true so that we don't run this every frame. Let's see what new errors we have now. Oh, yeah, so I was just making sure the airlocks was initialized. The airlocks is initialized if we wait until process. Okay. I foresee a problem with running this as a tool script. With the whole airlocks don't add themselves to the scene tree. Because the airlock is in the tile map, it doesn't seem to add itself to the scene tree until the game runs. So maybe this can't be a tool script. We'll figure that out. We'll think about that. I'm sure someone has accounted for that possibility. Actually, let's leave the breakpoint. Start it again. And then we'll just continue. And then now we'll inspect. Because now we should have our compartments. They should be filled. Compartment 0 is 63. 1 is 41, 2 is 41. I think we did it. Let's go to the executable. Oh, snap. We did it. All right, let's get that breakpoint out of there. And oh, that was not the right way to close the debugger. Let's get that great breakpoint out of here and let's look at what we did. We did it. Flood filling each of the 3 rooms. I'm gonna take a moment and just enjoy that, because the next part of this is gonna be kind of tough, I think. So now we have to decide what walls we want to hide. Walls we want to hide when we touch each room. So like if your cursor's in the blue room, we want to hide the walls for at least part of the red room, if not the whole thing. But at the moment, the walls don't know what room they're in. So I guess there is a second stage of this where the walls look through where the walls look through at their... They just look down. We'll need to know which way they're facing. But that's easy because we know that. How do I do these corners? Oh. Oh, these corners are separate. Right? They look separate. The wall corners are separate. What the hell is this? Why do I have this? Oh, it's for the front corners. I never even draw those. Why did I make that? Okay, whatever. Alright, so let's work on step 2. So step 2, after the flood filling the walls. Add to that, we're going to call that flood-filled floors. Actually, we don't need to call it that because it's the whole process here. We're going to flood fill the whole thing once. So we also want to say wall tiles then. See a little bit of a problem with this model. We are... Oh, no, this is fine. Because if you'll notice, we have wall tiles. They're kind of going transparent here, but we do have a wall tile behind the airlock. But because it's a corner piece, it's owned by this tile. So that's good. O'clock. All right, we got like 30 more minutes. I think we can do this. We're just going to go through each wall tile, have them look at the tile below them. That's appropriate for which tile they are. It'll either be the one along Y or the one along X. And so the walls facing the right go along X, and the walls facing the left go along Y. And what is the corresponding atlas chord for that? We're not going to paint the wall tiles, because that seems like maybe a bit of work. Yeah, we could. Yeah, let's do it. We'll turn off the mouse cursor transparency. We're not really using it. Let's see, fold this. So we're going to have this one be red. This one will be green. This one will be blue. I need to change the alpha for that. Same deal here. Right, that should be fine. Do the same thing here. Just give us a nice simple RGB, which works for us since we're only doing 3 rooms right now. Oh, transparency. That should be good. Okay. So let's turn off. Where are we even doing this? Oh, we're doing it here. Turn this off. Turn this off. We will delete this. Right? What is that even for? That's the old way. So we don't need to worry about unfilled tiles. We just need to iterate through each wall tile. So for wall tile and wall tiles. So for each of the wall tiles, we are going to we need to know what their atlas coords are and source ID are. Very well, source ID. I guess we can just grab that stuff from here. Tile map, get source tile, get source ID. We don't need tile map, we are the tile map. So we're getting our source ID, we're getting our atlas coords. We didn't actually check. So if source ID is 1, let's make sure that's right. So doesn't actually tell me what the source ID is. Yeah, here we go, ID 1. Atlas coord 0, 0. So we just have 0, 0 or 1, 0. That's it. Okay, so if 0, 0, so source ID is 1. Else. Yeah, we'll do a check. I know that source ID is otherwise 2, but we're just gonna sanity check ourselves here. So if source ID is 1, so if atlas coords, this doesn't have to be good. This just has to be accurate. If atlas coords is 0, 0. I said we were going to be safe, but I've changed my mind. So this way I can do the comparisons just with constants, sort of. So if the atlas coords, and we're basically just setting our alternative tile. So variable alternative tile. And so the way I draw the walls, there will always be the appropriate tile next to them. We will run into a problem with these corners, because the corners we'll have to check for both. Because at the moment we only have the airlock facing one direction, so I could cheat and just hard code it. But we might have airlocks facing the other direction soon. I would rather not leave that bug in there if I know it's going to be there. Source ID is 1. Atlas coords is 0. We have this one. So now we need to find the tile, which sucks a bit. That part's going to kind of suck. It's finding the tile. That's going to be kind of really brute forced, because we have to go through the compartments. We have to go through each compartment. Okay. Range is exclusive. Okay. So for each compartment, we need to go. We want to know, we're not just saying for each compartment in compartments, because we want to know, or can I just grab the key? Can I just grab the key for that compartment? Do I just do like dot key? Is it like that simple? I could say find key. No, that's not what I want. Keys, I could get a key array. I could say has. No, none of that's, we're just going to iterate as I'm through the numbers. We don't normally like to iterate through a range, but I think that's the simplest way to do it here. So for index and range 3, we're going to say if compartments index dot has. Actually, I guess we're going to say if wall tile. No, if wall tile plus vector 2i 0 1 in. So if that's in, then we'll say wall tile, we'll say set cell 0 wall tile source ID atlas coords, and then we'll say index plus 1. That's it, right? So, because we're looking and we're saying we're getting this tile, which is atlas coord 0. And so we're saying if the tile beneath you along the y-axis, which is the way that this one extends, which and if you're in, and then we go through each room and we say if you're in this room, do that, and then we can just break. Should break us out of this for loop. I think that's it. And then we just redo that for each of these. And the only real change is this, which means we can probably do this a better way, but we're going to not worry about it right now. And then, because you are going to be... Oh, it's not index plus 1, is it? This one is going to be index plus 4. Okay, so a couple things change. And then now we just have to deal with the corner. And I said I was going to do this the right way. If we're going to check to the left, I guess we'll check to the right, because I know the right's going to be wrong. And for you, it's going to be +1. Right, I have a warning somewhere. Where's my warning? Alternative tile is declared but never used. Why did I declare that? What was I going to use that for? I was going to use that down here, but I don't think I need to. Let's move flood fill down here. Not that it matters. Let's find the... Alright, what's the crash? Alright, it did nothing, so... It didn't crash, but it also did nothing, so that's interesting. Are we not declaring wall tiles? We probably aren't. Wall tiles is get used cells 1. We're gonna put the LF here, just to make sure. This should always be correct, but safety first, then teamwork. All right, we're still not doing anything, so that's not ideal. Wall tile and wall tiles. Okay, use cells 1. While we're not going to do that during the while. Wall tile and wall tiles. We'll get the source ID. We'll get the atlas chords. Oh, we're setting the wrong layer. Oh, we did it. We are correctly identifying the walls in each room. We're going to need to work on how we're going to incorporate the airlocks into this, because right now they're being totally ignored, but this is great. We're even identifying the airlocks tile correctly, because it's shared. Or the airlocks wall tile, not their floor tile, but the wall tile. Awesome. I know this looks like just like a dumb little series of 3 colored rooms, but it is motivating. Love it. All right. All right, next step. Next step is going to be hiding the walls for each room. Which I guess we'll do in the input handler for now. Probably not forever, but for now. Oh man, we should probably have a list of walls. Because I realize since I'm not saving this information, we should have put this into a data structure. So compartments is not sufficient. Maybe it is. Could we just add the walls to the compartments. I don't see why not, honestly. That seems like the simplest way to do it, but why wouldn't I want to do that? I mean, it's probably easiest to just have a separate, to just store them separately. We're going to store them together now just because that's the simplest thing to do, and I can't think of a good reason not to. Can I say like append tile? You gonna be mad at me for that? I don't see why it would. Okay, so now we should be able to say, because now we should be able to look up the floor tile. Oh, we need a way of understanding the relationship between the rooms, which we don't have right now, because this is being chosen randomly. Okay, so we need to add that concept. Because it's not good enough to... We need to be able to say, you know, we're mousing over the red room, so the green room's walls go semi-transparent. But we need to know that the red room is behind the green room. I mean, I could do something really stupid and just look at which room has the lowest tile, but that is maybe not the way to do this. By lowest, I actually mean highest, so... how do we want to do that? I mean, I guess let's start by making the walls transparent in the room that we are in. I guess, just as an exercise, even though that's not what we want at all. So if mouse tile is in floor tiles, I'm gonna say, okay, so we have this hidden walls array, which is not exactly what we want. I want to say like hidden room, maybe. Make it just an index. Need a better way of finding the compartment that a room is in. Because right now I can only imagine doing it this way. About iterating through the compartments. Well, you don't have the compartments, do you? That's whatever. The tile map does. This is a mess. We really need to like refactor our whole relationship between the input handler and the tile map system. We need to figure out which functions are independent of the tile map, like if we switch out tile maps, and which functions are very dependent on the tile map, and just kind of put those back in the tile map. I guess we're doing the same check that we did here, basically. So if it's in the compartments index, that the mouse tile is in the compartments that we're looking at, we'll go through for... I mean, here's a good reason why we don't have, why we should keep them separate, is because now we're going to have to iterate through every compartment and see if it's in the wall tile. But I don't care. I don't really care about inefficiencies right now. We're not like up against any kind of performance bottleneck. Tile in compartment index. Index. This is not our hidden room. What's the plain English syntax for not equals in Godot? I want to know. I don't mind writing not equals like as an equation, but I just like this plain English syntax. Yeah, this is really poorly. So if the tiles in the compartments and in the wall tiles... Oh, we need to specify... This is awful. We have to specify tile map compartments. We shouldn't be doing this here. We should just be getting the mouse tile from the input handler. Need to add the set cell stuff from here. Oof. I don't really need to declare this as a variable anyway. We can just plug these directly in. Tile map dot set cell tile. Gonna be 1 tile. This. Then this. We're gonna actually just say 0 right now because we don't actually have a transparent tile set anymore now that I deleted them foolishly. But it's okay. Once we take the debugger alternative tiles off, we'll just switch over to that. That'll be easy. So we're just going to remove their debug color if we've decided that they should be made invisible. See if this crashes. Okay, no, so we know what tile map we're in. We know where the walls are. This one's not working. That's weird. Why is that?
It's not exactly clear whether they even truly exist or could be shown to in the physical universe. If they do, if one day physics finds a use for them,
X in range 3.
that's great. But if not,
Let's try again and see if that closest room still doesn't do it right. Okay, that one's fine. Red one. The red one specifically doesn't seem to change its color back. That's weird. Wonder why that is. Even if it's a different room.
with this brain, a tiny thing, a septillion times smaller than the tiny planet it lives on, discovered something's true.
That's super weird. I don't understand that. Why the red room specifically is not able to do this. Let's look here. Are we doing anything? No, we're not doing anything special for the red room. Index in range 3. That starts with 0, right? Starts from 0, increases by steps of 1, and stops before n. That's right. Let's look at our tile map. Alternative 1, alternative 2, alternative 3. It shouldn't really matter which one of these it is. It should just go back to 0 either way. I wonder why that one exactly is not doing it. Maybe we're doing something weird with the compartments. Compartment count 0. We start with 0. Oh, am I? No, this is right.
If they do, if one day physics finds a use for them,
Oh no, we're not supposed to increment the compartment count.
that's great too.
How was that working? Weird. Oh, now we're crashing. Oh, maybe it was right? How was that right? How was that the right place to put the compartment count? Within the while. Oh, this is in the no. Oh, oops. Yeah, that was the right place. Because this is every time we pick a new starting tile, which should only happen a few times. We pick it and then iterate it. So that's right. You set cell compartment count +1. Yeah, that's also right. We're doing it for the walls here too. And so we're doing a very similar process here and there. Until... Yeah, even when the red one moves around, it's just like, nah. So it's something about this coming back, this room specifically coming back, which I guess is index 0. Huh. That's weird. Oh well. Why would that be? Yeah, we had such good momentum for like the first half of this stream, and now we're just kind of stuck on something, but that's okay. It's actually 9:30, so I'm gonna need to go soon. I don't know if I'm gonna make a couple more attempts at trying to identify what's happening here. Try to understand why. Mass tile isn't tile map.compartments. 0. Oh, if index is not equal to hidden room, this is it. This is like, I'm not even using this, and it's just causing horrible problems for me. Let's get rid of that. That's why. That's exactly why. Yeah, okay. So the walls know. But now, again, I think the thing we need to do, and the thing that I'm going to have to think about, is how... I guess we just pick a bunch of tiles. We just pick tiles in the room, and we have the tiles look at, like, the tiles a couple over. Up to 3 over, because that's how the walls stretch up 3 tiles. So you would want to know if there was a tile within 3 tiles down. And that would be a room. That would be, you'd want to, yeah, and then we'll just associate that. We'll just say, you know, this room is obscured by these rooms. That's fine. Let's add that to our loop. We're going to push it a little bit here. I can realistically be on for another 10 minutes or so. I just really want to see this working. At least to an extent. It's going to get messy, because I'm not going to do this very well. So after we've got all the walls, after we've got the floors and the walls, for our purposes, we can just randomly pick tiles and then just look one tile down, which is not going to be a long-term solution. But because of the way that we're doing this, that will work. So let's say something like, I guess we're going to do the index and range thing, because we're going to look for each compartment. We'll figure out a better way of doing this. It's because I have a dictionary, which is compartments, and then each entry in the dictionary is all of the members of a room. So I don't know. There's probably a better way to organize that. For each tile. So we're going to cheese this because of how specific our room layout is. if tile, if not. So if the tile plus this are not in our compartments, we'll check the other compartments. How are we going to do that? So if this tile's neighbor, the lower left neighbor, is not in our compartment, we want to check the other two compartments. I just need a way of doing that because we're grabbing this. Is it 0, 1, or 2? Oh, we're gonna get there. Doing this really stupidly. Okay, hold on to this neighbor. No, we don't want to call this neighbors. We want to call this like... whatever, we'll call it neighbors. We'll come up with a better word. So if neighbor is in compartments 1, then neighbors 0 equals 1. If neighbor, our neighbors in the other compartments, yeah, we're really cheesing this based on the layout of our current test level, but that's fine. We'll generalize this once we've solved the problem. Neighbors. That's horrible. That's horrible and ugly, but it should give us what we want, which is just to identify which room is below us. Tile and compartments. Variable neighbor tile is that. Hey, you always name those variables neighbor. Oh yeah, adjacent. I do like adjacent, especially if I'm specifically not considering diagonal neighbors. But it's just nice to, go up and be like, howdy, neighbor. Okay, but this should give us what we want, which is that if not... Oh. Neighbor not in... If not neighbor in compartments. So if our neighbor is not in our own compartment, we will look at the other compartments and establish the relationship there. problem is breaking out of this. Yeah, so we just want to make sure we break. Either way, we want to break out. If not, neighbor in. Actually, if let's put a break everywhere. I think that's what we need to do here. Because the break shouldn't hit the match. They told me during my crash course for people familiar with switch statements that the break should hit the 4. It should skip matches. Shouldn't need breaks in GD script, is my understanding. So these breaks should hit the 4 loop here, and we should be able to break out of that, which is what we want. Let's just see if we crash. We don't crash. That's good. Let's break at the flood field when the flood breaks or whatever. Okay, we crashed this time. Why did I do? How did that happen? Okay. So we want to identify our neighbors here. We want to look at this. So 1 is neighbors with 2. 2 is neighbors with 0. 0 isn't on here because it doesn't have... I mean, it does have a neighbor. That's why neighbor isn't the right word. It's like room obscuring you. So we'll name it something else. But that's what we want. So we want to go back to our mouse tile stuff. Sorry if I'm kind of frantic during this last part. I both have to stop the stream and use the bathroom, and the combination is like, I'm like tilted. So, but I really want to see this work. So let's look at what we had here. So where if the index is in here, if the mouse tile is in this compartment, then what we want, so we don't want index, we want tile map dot neighbors index. This might not work. We'll say if index in neighbors. That work? Tilemap.neighbors. Indent. We'll see if this works. Yes. So we're not making it transparent, but whenever we mouse over a room, we're hitting all the walls in the room in front of it. And not this one, because this one doesn't have... Or no, not this one, because this one doesn't have anything in front of it. Awesome. We did it. I mean, it looks terrible because we need to remove the debug colors and we need to change this all. Okay, so it's not working this time. Okay, it's not working in the right direction in that case for some reason. That's funny. So that worked. And that worked. So it worked in this case. I don't know why it didn't work. Whatever, we're calling it. That was good. That was good. I'm gonna maybe clean this up over the weekend. Maybe we'll do it next stream, which will be Monday. Because I need a break. And I need a run as well. But this has been an awesome stream. The flood filling stuff was really fun. That was easy. The discussion was awesome. Thank you, Enomoth, talking out the some of the potential gameplay mechanics we can be doing. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this, so I will definitely be back next week, same time, 7:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. PST, to continue our work on Digital Iliad, my FTL-like we're making in Godot. But this has been awesome. I hope you all have a great weekend, and I will see you next time. Bye.